Hey friends, Valerie here, and I am going to show you how to make some cheddar broccoli creamy soup tonight. My friend Candace made this for the first time and shared it online, and I thought, that sounds pretty good. I am going to try some of that. So we're going to start out by browning our onions. I've already chopped up the onions, and I'm going to brown them in this iron skillet here. Here's my onions. They said about a half of an onion, but I'm gonna make a larger amount of this tonight, so I'm gonna do more like a whole onion for mine. So we're just gonna get that going with about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of butter in the iron skillet. Let that get browned up, kind of translucent. We're not going to try to brown the onions. We just want to cook them till they're about translucent. That'll be a couple of minutes of that. Meanwhile, we're going to make a roux, what they call a roux, for the creamy part of the, for the creamy part of the soup. I'm going to move this over here and move my stock pot over here. And this is where we're going to put in about 1/4 cup more of butter. So a half a stick of butter is 1/4 cup. And since I'm making a little bit larger amount, I used a little bit more than 1/4 cup. But I'm going to melt that in my stock pot. And to that, I'm going to add some flour. And that makes what's called a roux. And then to that we'll add our milk, and it'll start to make like a white gravy sauce, a white cream sauce. I always like to use a whisk when I'm making a roux. So that's starting to go. Put a little bit of a time in there, and I'll use a whisk with it. Turn it down a little bit now. Whisk that around in there. I'm going to take it off the eye. It was a little hot. Take it off the eye there. Kind of brown it up a little bit. Here, I'll show you what that looks like. See, it's kind of like a pastiness. But you want it to get a little bit brown because you don't want it tasting like flour. I'm just going to continue to work on that, and I'll start adding in a little bit of milk as we go. I use whole milk when I'm cooking something like this. I don't like to use any skim or low-fat milk. I just go ahead and use the whole milk. It'll make a much more creamy sauce for you. Just pouring that in. It's gonna be pretty good, I think. It's creaming up. You want to just add a little at a time so that you have a chance for the lumps to dissolve. Because if you go at it too fast, you'll end up with a lumpy kind of result. I'm gonna stir around our onions a little bit. I think I can turn that eye off. I believe they are just about right. Some of them did get a little brown, but that's going to be okay. That will just make it taste good. That kind of caramelizes those onions. That'll make it taste good, I think. All right, so we've got that in there. I had to go put my apron on. I had forgotten to put on my apron. I like to cook with the apron on because I don't like to mess up my clothes. Now this is starting to thicken up. As you can see, it's almost kind of looking like some really loose mashed potatoes. So that's all good. I like that. That's the way it needs to look. So now we're going to add to that the chicken broth. Now this is about 3 cups of chicken broth, and this is from some chicken that I cooked on Sunday. I don't know if I told you or not, but I like to cook chicken on Sundays. I'll cook either a whole chicken or I'll get some split chicken breasts and I'll cook those. I just let them cook for a few hours in the crock pot, and then I've got chicken for the rest of the week for recipes. And I might put a little chicken in this soup. My husband would probably like that if I had some chicken in there. Give it a little more heartiness besides just a vegetable soup. All right, now I need to cut some vegetables. I need to cut some celery and some carrots. I'll tell you what, I'm going to bring you over here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to bring you right here so you can see. All right, so I'm going to cut up some more carrots. It said to cut them into matchsticks, but I think I'm just going to go with rounds. I mean, there's no reason to have matchsticks, and they take so much longer. I just want this to be easy. I don't want it to be difficult. So I'm just going to cut up my carrots, and I'm gathering my vegetables in a bag here. I've already cut up my broccoli. It said to cut those into coarse pieces, so I had already done that. I didn't want to put everything that I did on the video. I just want you to have an idea of how these things are done. Just a little bit more carrots, and then I'll do the celery. It says 1 stalk of celery sliced thin. So I've got celery. I like to keep celery in the refrigerator. That way if I need something crunchy to snack on, I can reach in there and grab it, and it just makes it easy for me to pick something healthy instead of grabbing a potato chip. I'm not going to say I never do that though. I do. But it's nice when I've got carrots or celery around and I can grab that in a hurry and not have to think about it. They're already washed up and clean. What do you like to grab for a quick snack? Do you have a favorite? Any favorites that you like? I know there's nuts. I enjoy nuts. I enjoy Brazil nuts and almonds. I like to toast slivered almonds to put on my salads. For a while I was buying the bags of slivered almonds and just putting them on my salad that way, and then one day I thought, you know what, I'm gonna toast these and see how they are. They were so much better that way. They're so much more crunchy. All right, so the recipe doesn't call for it, but I thought it might be good to put a potato in there. You know, that could be good. I had to stir the pot a little bit. Potatoes, that would make it a little more hearty, and I think John would really like potatoes in there. So that's the thing. You can, when you're following a recipe, it's fine to follow the recipe, but you can also add things that you really like or leave off things that you don't like. If you're going, man, that recipe sounds good, but I sure don't like, onions, well, don't put the onions in, It's your kitchen. You can do what you want. Or in this case, I thought, potatoes might make it taste pretty nice and hearty. I think we'll try potatoes. So we're going to add some potatoes in there. We don't have to add a lot, but we can put some in there. Kind of punch it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put these potatoes in there now. There's those potatoes. And do you make soup very often? Do you make homemade soup? Do you like to use the kind that comes like in a bag, like the dehydrated bags? Those are convenient. And again, if you like the dehydrated bag of, say, potato soup, you can add more potatoes to it. I've done that before. Just add a few potatoes to the dehydrated bag, and it makes it taste even more homemade. It's like what they call almost homemade. All right. I'm going to bring you back over here to the stove. Get my flour out of the way. And we're going to scoop the onions in. Here's the onions. We're going to scoop those into the pot. Oh, those smell good, and they're so caramelized. The recipe did not ask me to caramelize these onions, but they just sat there in the skillet, turned off on that hot eye, and got caramelized. And I think that's gonna be a bonus, don't you? I think it is. I think that is going to be pretty good, pretty good. All right, last thing we're gonna do is add the vegetables that we chopped up. All of that gets added in. Now then, that needs to cook on a simmer for a little while. So I'm gonna let it do that, and then I'm gonna come back and show you the next step. All right, so I've decided I do want to put some chicken in here. Here's my shredded up chicken. I cooked 4 large split chicken breasts on Sunday after while we were at church. They were in the crock pot. So when I got home, sometime Sunday afternoon, they were ready, and I took a couple of those chicken breasts and I shredded them. And I have finally learned the easy way to shred chicken. I saw it online, I think, but you just put it in your mixer bowl, and with your hand mixer on low, and I broke them up too. I didn't just stick the whole chicken breast in there, but I broke it up, got it off the bone, and kind of broke it up some, and put my mixer in there, and just ran it around just a little bit until it was all shredded up. And that was so fast and so easy. So that's a great tip to how to shred chicken. Use your mixer, but use it on low, and watch it too, because the first time I did it a little too long, and it was almost kind of like really chopped down, almost kind of, it was on the verge of becoming a pate. So be careful, but it's good. That's a good little tip. All right, so I'm putting that in there to give a little meat to it. I think this is gonna be really special. So that's got to simmer for about 20 minutes so that the vegetables can get tender, and then we'll be ready to eat. So I'll be back with you in a minute. Hey friends, I'm back. I decided to try something. I was cooking this in my pressure cooker anyway. I've sort of given up a lot of my other sauce pots, and I just use my pressure cooker for everything. I've got a short one, I've got this medium sized one, and then I've got a great big one. But I was making it in the pressure cooker, and I thought, I don't want to wait 20 minutes for this. So I'm gonna see how this does if I let it come up to pressure, if that'll get those vegetables tender faster. So I'm gonna do an experiment with this and see how that does. I'll let you know how it goes. We might be eating grilled cheeses for supper tonight. We'll see. I'll let you know. Okay, so I almost let it come up to pressure. I started to get nervous. I was afraid that with the milk and the flour in there, I was just afraid that it would scorch on the bottom. So I did take it off the heat before it came up to pressure and released the top and everything. And it is, I'll let you see, it's really creamy and nice. It's got just enough thickness to it. The vegetables are tender now. I did add some salt and pepper, and the recipe asks to put a cup and a half of sharp cheddar cheese in with it and let the cheese melt. But I am gonna serve it like this, and we'll put our own cheese on the top. The reason for that is because I hate trying to clean melted cheese out of a sauce pot. So this way we just, only our bowls get the cheese in them. So I'm gonna serve this up now with some crackers, and it's gonna be wonderful. Thank you for watching, and this turned out great. And if you want the recipe, direct message me or put a comment at the bottom, and I will send you the recipe. Or I'll tell you what, I'll put a link to the recipe. Thanks. Have a great night. looking forward to this. Looks delicious, smells delicious, and it's got everything in it that we like.